Stranded a long way from home when SHTF happens? Hey everybody, it's Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. It's a worry. It's a thought. It's something we need to think about and we need to prepare for. What happens if you're away on business? What happens if you're in another state? What happens if you're across the country? What happens if you're in another country? What happens if you're away on travel? Well, first off, there are so many variables to that. It depends on lots of things. What can you take with you when you go far away? Say, for example, let's say you're on a business trip, a couple states away in the United States. Say you're able to carry a backpack with you, like you have a bug out bag. And I don't know, say you have a vehicle, but an EMP happens and your vehicle is not functional. What do you do then? You're hundreds, if not thousands of miles from home. This is when it's very important to have an adequate bug out bag. But more than that, adequate physical capability to be able to get home. What about a bicycle? You may find yourself biking that far. What about waterways? Are you upstream, downstream? Can you get a canoe, something like that? Do you have any contacts in the area where you're going? That's a big one. What I suggest is if you're traveling far from home, there are prepper forums, prepper boards, prepper Facebook groups, YouTube channels, lots of different resources. Try to find somebody ahead of time in the area where you're going and along the way home en route. If you travel to a specific location often for business, you can establish relationships along the way. Maybe instead of flying, drive if you have time. And stop and meet people face to face and build those relationships now. But what happens if, say, it just happened? You weren't able to get anything in place. What are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you what, honestly, that is a really, really bad situation. Because are you going to be able to get back to your family, your mutual assistance group, your team, your tribe? Do you have communications with them? If you have communications with them, long-range communications, and you can reach them, somebody that you know, then maybe they will have a vehicle that's operational and they might be able to have the capability to come get you. But say they don't. It's a long road home, right? Yeah. It's not optimal by far. If I was hundreds of miles from home, say 1,000 miles from home, and I had my best bug out bag, and I worked my hardest, it would take me months probably to get home, which would really suck for my family. These are things we need to think about now. That's why your groups, your mutual assistance groups, your family, your team, your community, your tribe, whatever you want to call it, your neighborhood, is so important. Because if you have an infrastructure, I know in my mind that yes, my family hopefully will be okay or have a better chance of being okay while I'm gone and while I'm getting back home. What I recommend is don't travel far from home unless you absolutely have to. Because you never know what's going to go on, when it's going to go down. It is a horrible situation. I have read, I forget which book, I have read prepper fiction where the guy was far from home. And he was in a vehicle, EMP happened, he grabbed his pack from his vehicle, started walking, found a bike, biked home, or something like that, or you journey home. Actually, I think I'm combining kind of two books. There's several books like that. I know one time the guy wasn't super far from home. I think he took a bike and went home. Another one, he was on the road for a while. And this is something to think about. But in prepper fiction, They always come across the special forces sniper, super prepper, bug out, EMP proof vehicle, everything perfect, and you get home and everything works out fine. Because it's fiction. Real life is not fiction. You might not make it home. Or you might make it home and your family's not there. And they're already gone. You already lost them. You already lost everything you have. Sorry, I'm trying not to be doom and gloom. You guys know I try to be uplifting and positive and empowering here. But we have to realize and face the facts. The facts may not be pretty. That is why it is so important to have groups that will take care of your family while you're gone if you're in that situation. And your fitness level is so important, so important. I talk about fitness a lot of times. A lot of videos, I mention it at least. And skills, survival skills, foraging. Do you know what food there is available? What wild edibles are en route in between point A, point B, where you're going? What about hunting? Do you have the capability? Do you have the capability of taking items, tools with you that will help you get game? Traps, snares, other more lethal items? Or are you in a situation where you can't have any of those kind of things? You might possibly be able to have a pocket knife. If you were on a plane, you might not even have that. I'll tell you what, it's just one of those things. Skills, 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 and mindset. Never quit, never say die. That's why the mind is the most powerful tool in prepping. Get right with him also. That is another most powerful tool in prepping. Your physical fitness is a very important tool in prepping. Your ability to adapt and overcome. Your ability to think outside the box. Like I mentioned, waterways. How many people have thought about waterways? Rivers, streams, whatever is a way to get home. Or a method of transportation. Do you have maps? That's another thing. If you travel, have maps of the area you're going to, the area where you live, and all the maps in between, and a compass and the ability to use them. Land navigation, orienteering. How can you get from point A to point B? Do you have that capability? If you don't, you're SOL, right? That's why we got to do these things now. Now things are easy. Now our life does not depend on it. So now is the time to do it. Now is the time to get these skills. Now is the time to work on your fitness. Now is the time to plan all this stuff out. If it's a random thing like your boss is like, oh, hey, I need you to jump on a plane tomorrow morning and fly here. Well, you can only do what you can do. Don't get too overwhelmed. Stay positive. Do the best you can. Make whatever preps you can. If you can go online, just quickly download all the maps you can into your cell phone, at least. If an EMP happens, I don't know. There are so many variables, like I said. All we can do is the best. But think about all the options. Think about what's in between point A, point B. Look at maps prior to you leaving and en route when you're on the plane, when you're there, on the whatever. Any chance you get, fill your mind with knowledge about the areas in between. What threats are there? What's the population density? Are there cities you're going to have to go around because you're not going to want to go through them? Not when SHTF happens. That's going to be a very dangerous place. So, and then, what is the culture like there? There's just so many variables. Think about as many as possible. Brainstorm, war game, what potential scenarios are there? How can you mitigate as many of them as possible? What items can you take with you? Take the best bag you can. Get a home bag. But don't overburden yourself. Ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. Say that all the time. What that means is if you're carrying even that little item, those little items, everything adds up. And weight matters. If you're like, okay, well, I can carry a 40, 50 pound, 60 pound pack, on a 2-mile ruck. Okay, well, how about a 500-mile ruck or a 300-mile ruck? Can you carry that? I don't know. Maybe you can. If you can, awesome. Personally, my bag, one of my primary bags, is about 30, 35 pounds. You're like, oh, that's weak. I can carry more than that. Yeah, true. I can too. But if I start off a 35-pound pack, it might get heavier because I might find things along the way. but I know I can go a long ways. I can basically go forever carrying that much weight without having to ditch anything in my pack. That's important. Now, should you follow the philosophy of packing where you may have to ditch some stuff, and that's okay? Maybe. That's up to you. What you carry in your bag is very dependent upon your skills, your knowledge, and your abilities. The more abilities you have, the less stuff you need. The more adept you are at surviving hardships and putting up with the elements and nature and being alone, then the better off you'll be. Because then you won't have to carry as much stuff, which means you can move quicker, you'll get home faster, and you hopefully will have the ability to do so without having to ditch a bunch of stuff along the way. You don't want to have that trail of stuff all behind you. There's so much to it. What about avoiding detection? Yeah, there's that also. Like I said, there's a lot to this. So think about these kind of things. At least get your mind around the concept now. And start training physically now. Start setting up your bags now. Even if you're 50 miles from home. That's still, that's a jaunt. That'll take you some time, especially if you have to go around a city or two. Or what if you're, like, say, here in Western Washington? What happens if I'm in Tacoma and I have to get to Port Angeles? How am I going to get there? There's bridges. There is. Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Okay, say that bridge is out. Say somebody took it out. Say whatever happened. You can't get across that bridge. You got to go all the way around to Olympia and then all the way up the peninsula to the very end. That'll take months. Seriously. And there's not even really any big towns along the way. Not big. And there aren't a ton of threats in that area either. But you got to think through these things. Choke points. Most likely areas to be ambushed, to be threatened. I know it's a huge topic, tons to think about, but please start thinking about it up here. You may be in this situation, hopefully you're not. I don't ever put myself in this situation unless I absolutely have to. So do that also. Anyway, please subscribe if you guys like the videos. Please give it a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, comment on the videos, and share if you'd like. Please help me out. Help out with the algorithm is always welcome. I really appreciate all you guys. We're getting close to 21,000. Hoo-yah! Excited. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all you guys' help, all your support, all your awesome comments. You guys rock. Thank you. And have a wonderful day. Blessings to you and yours.